Okay, so my neighbor was reorganizing his garage, and like he had a bunch of stuff in it, so he got a dumpster and was throwing a whole bunch of stuff away. So I went, of course, and I looked through it, and I found this nice little square, and I figured, what can I do with this? Well, my logical first idea was just draw a little pattern out on it. I can make a little machete out of it. I figure that will turn out cool. I've never made a knife, well, a knife out of metal before, so we'll see how this goes. I'm not expecting it to go that well. Well, it took me a while, but I finally got basically the rough shape out. Um, just using the little cut-off disc on that over there. Still got some grinding to do, but that'll all get done in a second. Just gonna use the grinding wheel to do that. Okay, so now that I got it all finished out, the shape I want it to do, I now have to figure out what I want to use for the little rivets that go right in between. But most people use brass. I don't have brass. But I went back and I looked in the dumpster again, and I found this. It's just a car battery hook, so I'm gonna use this in it. I think it will work just fine. And my handle it's 5 inches, so not these little X's, I measured wrong, but these little dots here, they're all in 1.25 inches apart, and that ends up to the handle width being about like right up here somewhere. So those are all evenly spaced out. I still have to figure out the height, how far from the bottom and how far from the top to put them, but I think it'll turn out being just fine. Okay, so I measured them all out, the height too, and I'm just going to use those 3. And I found a drill bit that I hope will work. I'm just going to start off small and work my way up, maybe to, this one right here, assuming this might be the right size. Maybe I should do a pilot hole first. And this piece of wood here is just in case I go too far, which I will. I don't want to go into the desk. Okay, I've kind of switched places a little bit. I remembered I had this, so I'm going to use this instead. Well, I messed up just a bit. See it? See that one right there? How it's level with all the others? That's no bueno. I don't know how I did that. But it's a homemade knife. You can't expect perfect. But that deeply sucks. I can just have like a 2.5 inch handle. That'd be super small. this was my solution on how to get the wood there. Since I already drilled the holes, just taped it on there. I just ended up using this cedar, that's what it's called. I forgot for a second, but just gonna do it reverse on both sides. So these top faces that are up are actually just the inside piece. Flip this one around this way and have them both on there like that. So I think that looks pretty sick, if I do say so myself. Just see how that goes. Okay, so I totally forgot to record how I ended up doing it, but I just took CA glue and just glued it together. I actually tried to go to the store to get some like 5-minute epoxy to use, but the store is closed because it's Father's Day, and not just because it's Father's Day, it's just because it's Sunday, but it was closed. So I just ended up using the CA glue because I happened to have it, you know, and this is what it ended up looking like. Well, not exactly what it ended up looking like because it's still drying, but I got all the little pegs cut just from that battery holder, and then I clamped it all together pretty tight. Somehow it did end up, if I can find it, right there. There's that little crack, which I don't know how that's going to turn out, but we'll see when we get there. I think it's going to turn out pretty cool though. I don't know how long this stuff takes to dry, so I'm just going to leave it for a while, and I'll be right back with that. Okay, so I just took it out of the clamps, and that's not too good. I'm just gonna see. I can move it if I squeeze it with my hands a little bit, which probably isn't good. So I'm just gonna put some super glue in it, try to squeeze that with the clamp, and hope it will fix it. Maybe get a cool aesthetic. I don't know. I might try to grab some metal powder and put that in that. I don't know if it'll stay, because we'll see about that. But also has a crack right here. It's really small, but pop that up with some CA glue, and then I need to trim these off as well, but we'll get there when we get there. But otherwise, it's a nice solid handle. I think it did really well for my first try, and I expect it will look pretty snazzy. So the hole got a little bigger. Basically what I did it on purpose. I used this gouge, but mostly this eraser, because this eraser just ended up working better than the gouge. Just chip it out, and I didn't get this part because I was lazy, but I didn't mess with this side either, because really you can't see it unless you know it's there. I'm just going to put some CA glue in that and hope it will hide it. And then what I plan to do, like why I dug that out, is instead of metal shavings, I got this stuff. It's plastic. It's from making like these little projects, making little charms or something like that, or like when I try to make a chessboard with it, and just saving all the little shavings like this just for something. I don't know what, but I figured I might try to use the CA glue and try to just put that in there. We'll see where it gets. I'm gonna take some of this tape too and just put that on top, and then I'm gonna clamp it. That way I can kind of push it down. And I am gonna carve this a bit anyway, so this might have just been all for nothing. Or out of nothing or something. It might turn out cool. So here's what it ended up looking like coming out of the clamps. It's still a bit tacky, but I think it's good enough that I'm gonna go ahead and just put some super glue in this little teeny tiny crack right here. I still think I'm either gonna use a rasp or the grinder right there to file this all down. But either way, I think it'll turn out good. Okay, I forgot to record, but I've cut off the edges. The longer ones I used the hacksaw and cut it off, and then ground it close enough with the grinding wheel over there. You can't see it, but now I've just been getting this edge close with the metal, just using a little razor blade right there, and I've been using the wood rasp a little bit too, and you can kind of see that little crack that I filled in. It's coming along nicely, I think. It honestly didn't turn out bad, I don't think. The handle's gotten really dirty because I've been using it down here. I think next time, though, if I'm going to make one, I'm going to sharpen it before I put the handle on, because the handle was a pain. It just got in the way of the grinder. I had to take one of the wheels off, because otherwise it would just hit this when I got close to this side, or the other side, whichever part it is. But it just got in the way. So it turned out pretty sharp, though. I ended up just using the grinder all the way for it, but that's fine. The grinder worked. And it can cut hair. You can cut a water bottle or a milk jug in half. And that's the whole video. Please subscribe and like, guys, because this was a project in itself. God rest America.